Hello and welcome to another episode of my Let's Play A World of Tanks. I'm Darkling, your host, and we are in another company battle here. This time, we're in tiered company battles. So it's a lot better, a lot more suited for our tastes. We actually are able to fill an entire team here, as you can see. The other team certainly has more tanks than us, but I feel we have a much better mix. I'm of course in our little scout here, just because I like to allow the other people to get use of their tier 6 tanks, and I don't mind playing my scout, it's fine. But I'm obviously going to die because I'm a scout. But needless to say, I was commanding our forces here. I tried to split us evenly, a little bit of group on our 8 column, a little bit of group on the 3 column, sitting 2 people on the hill to flank. It is a very difficult process here to command a group and drive your tank and scout at the same time. I, of course, found these nice little artillery running around here, so I decided to quickly take care of them before I had to move on to the next tank. I mean, it's the quicker I could take out their artillery, the better. Obviously giving us a little bit of an advantage. Even though they are just tier 2, still, every little bit helps. So I managed to take out their artillery without much problem. And I did love how they managed to get the Su-85 stuck here. So I took him out very comically, which is unheard of. And then that little... what was that thing? The artillery piece, I couldn't hit him. I believe he gets finished off right there by my buddy in the artillery. I'm just gonna back up. Of course, I don't stand much of a chance against this 36. So do what I can. Just kind of delay the inevitable. But wait for it, wait for it. I'm gonna have a slick move here. I figure I have no other chance but to run away. So what I do, I just up and get out of there. Little scoot and move method there. Try and get some more spots. But yeah, at this point I go ahead and command my 8 column to go ahead and move forward and take on those tank destroyers that are over there. Because there's no point in sticking around and waiting. So I want them to go ahead and move on. Come on, does it actually switch me here? Oh, it doesn't. So, with any luck, there's nothing I could do here to get out of this view, is there? No. So I end up commanding my 8 column to move up. They go ahead and move up. I have the mediums here on the 3 column moving, which isn't exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to stay back, but they went ahead and moved up. So without me being able to switch, oh, there we go. It just took a little bit. So I switch over to a few different tanks here, trying to look around, see what's going on. I do command those tanks to move back. They were too far forward, those mediums. I didn't want them to move up yet. I wanted the flank to get secured by the 3601s that were sweeping around the mountain, which they managed to finally do, and then our 8 column manages to go ahead and push completely. And so at that point I go ahead and unleash the 3 column. I just alert them to the fact they have a scout running around the 1 column. Otherwise, it was a very sound strategy. I mean, we pushed evenly. We saw our forces that we needed to engage. I held back the appropriate people we needed to. It's a lot easier to command the company once I was already dead, because that way I could focus more, as opposed to sitting there and having to deal with the whole scouting and shooting and everything else at the same time. I feel in a company battle, you definitely need to have a singular commander dealing with things. But it does help to have a secondary person to be able to kind of fill in when you're busy, because obviously I was concentrating on taking out those SPGs along with taking out that Su-85. So we go ahead and we manage to secure that the capture zone there. Not a problem. They really don't have anything left to worry about. I give my artillery the go ahead to try and become what do you want to call them? Tank destroyer pieces. See if they can do it. Since everything else is pretty much secure, let them have some fun instead of running away from that scout. He's not obviously going to do too much. We have the base completely captured at this point. And the artillery does nail him on the run, but we're going to go ahead and capture the base before they finish him off, sadly. So, good battle there. It was one of our very, very major victory there. We do quite a few more, so I'll go ahead and skip to another one where it gets a little more interesting, I should say. So this battle, I went ahead with a little bit of a different plan. I wanted to put a few mediums over in the woods and just straight push, whereas I wanted pretty much all our heavies to go in the town and do what they normally do. It's a very difficult map to really process and deal with because it's hard to say this tank should go into this building area, this tank should go into another building area. So I kind of was relying on the fact that we've played this map plenty of times in pub games. So I just allowed them to figure out what it is they were going to do. And pretty much just said don't go past the EF column, or EF row. You guys have played this map enough, you should know what to do. And I definitely wanted the mediums to kind of go into the areas right in here, try and do some sniper stuff. Whereas I would go and try and hunt down their artillery piece, find what I could, deal with them as I see them. Again, being a scout, I do what I can. It's kind of tough to scout command and everything else, and well, scouts are scouts, so you're not going to do too much. But I do end up finding the all their artillery and everything else here. Of course, I'm going to get waxed real quick, but I do have my mediums coming up to assist me as quick as possible.
Our fuel's hit. We've lost half our gas.
Now, of course, there's very little I can do against that T-34-85. It's a tough target. But we do have all our heavies in town still taking care of the things that are their heavies. It kind of evened out there. That's what they ended up going for. So they luckily didn't push too much over on the wood side, so we definitely had the advantage there.
Armor is damaged.
Oh, do I actually get this artillery piece? That'd be awesome. Well, I forgot.
Bail out.
Nope.
This vehicle has had it.
So I get taken out. Of course, I distract their artillery long enough, which is all I needed to. And we start dealing some heavy damage over on that side, completely collapsing their flank, pretty much, well, I won't say completely, but we pretty much collapsed their flank, destroying whatever chances they had of having that side be decently held. Of course, now at this point, you can see here, they did sneak one guy back, and they're going to get our artillery pieces. There's nothing we can do. We do have 2 tanks heading back. I commanded them to go ahead and get back there and take care of it, but we trade artillery for artillery, so it's alright. It's a fair, even trade. Not exactly the best of circumstances, but it happens and you gotta deal with what you can. So now that threat's eliminated, I go ahead and tell them to go re-push that whole edge. Disincarnate has already managed to take out 4 tanks in the 3601. That 3601 is probably one of the best mediums you can get in this tier. I mean, I like it a little more than the T-34-85, which is definitely a personal favorite. Now, sadly, they have a Hetzer that's just AFK. Don't know if it's going to end up doing too much, but the Lee is not a problem. Disincarnate takes out him, takes out the Hetzer, ends up getting the Top Gun there, and then we just completely end up collapsing the rest of them. We take out that artillery piece with our little 3601 with 18 hit points, and then we just have to hunt down that KV-3. So, holding the right amount of people back, letting them sit there and take care of tanks, and then having a backup person go ahead and of course they're dumping around here because they know they've won. So we end up having a good group here, take care of everything as needed. We had a little bit of secondary command coming from Vaughn, which certainly helped because he could see that side of the battlefield a little more than I was. I was busy dealing with the woods and train yard side. So our mediums did pretty well. They did exactly what they needed to. Our heavies pushed just right. Hunted down the... I don't think we actually hunt down the last guy. I think we end up capping. But our team certainly has been improving. They've seemed to have learned everything. We seem to be following our commands pretty well. We don't have much problems in terms of dealing with the enemy. It seems that we have found a great mix of tanks. A bunch of KV-3s with the 100mm actually seems a little better than the 122. We found it fires... well, it does fire twice as fast. And has about the same penetration, so DPS overall tends to favor that 100mm. So we haven't really experimented with the T-34-85, but definitely the KV-3 and the 3601 are the top in our list of what to run. As you can see here, 4 of them there, 3 of them here. That VK-1S was definitely a just random throw-in. We wanted to just try out, see how it worked. And of course, the Grill's definitely the top artillery piece over the Priest, if possible. So let's go into another one. So I decided to switch into my M36 Jackson as opposed to the T50 because we had someone else pop in that has a T50. I figured I want to actually do some damage here and let someone else be the scout for a little bit. Plus, I really love the M36 Jackson. I feel it's a great tier 6. It has phenomenal armor for whatever ungodly reason, and of course that 90mm is just crazy powerful and certainly a very quick reload on it as well. It's no VK3601, but I don't have one yet. Never bothered to get one. But still, I absolutely love it. We ended up switching everyone back to the KV-3s, just as something different, because we figured that the KV-1S was not nearly as good as the KV-3. Man, there's too many K's and V's. Can't keep it all straight. Oh, man. So, anyway, we end up sorting everything out. I end up putting 2 of the KVs down on the ledge over here to watch and take care of any tanks that kind of sweep around this way, up the standard way. I never like to push anyone down because they become exposed to artillery. So I usually just stick 2 people up there, let them snipe down when people come around that corner. So our scout and our KV find some stuff, or VK. We end up seeing that what is that thing over there? The M6, I believe it is. The American heavy with the crazy armor that can withstand umpteen billion shells. So I end up thinking he's still over there. I just figure I'll take a random shot.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
And of course, nail him. Blind shot kill, don't even know he's there. So at this point, we have some KV-3s pushing the way that we need to end up going. So we stand back, try and do a little bit of damage before we want to push up. We have our T-50 and our VK-3601 over there scouting. End up sending a little more support there. Still, not a whole lot we're worried about. We take out this KV-3 and then we decide we can go ahead and push, because we just need to lighten the load on that side a little more. So of course, disincarnate with the kill steal. Or do we wait? I think we wait until we take out one more. We wanted to make it a little less powerful because they do have a lot of KV-3s. And in the city boards, this many KV-3s is unstoppable. But in these open battlefields, the mediums are where the strength is. So we go ahead and we push up. I end up deciding that after a little bit of an engagement here, we end up taking out this KV, and then we start to notice our southern flank start to get collapsed. Of course, I'm going to deflect off a KV-3. That's just how it goes for me. Trying to figure out where the weak spot is, of course, on a KV-3 is tough. It's usually the turret. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I try and find a nice little area which I can get through, but it doesn't happen. So we start to notice down here they have a large, heavy presence. Now, normally that wouldn't be too hard to deal with if they just kept poking around the corner. Of course, we have top shots, they have low shots. So what I end up doing is saying that we should bring back myself and probably disincarnate in his medium, while the rest of the group continues to push. Now, they decide to go ahead and push all the way through and try and make a breakthrough over here, and that actually collapses our KVs, because that's how you take out the other KVs on that hill, is you have to just make the spearhead push. Now that 3601 over there, he's kind of guarding their rear, kind of worried about it. We know it's going to end up causing some issues. Our KV-3s are slowly getting whittled down, so we need to hurry up and push. They only have one left. So I go ahead and I don't want to mess with this KV that's over here to our right flank. So I go ahead and I send, who is that over there? Creekman, to go deal with it. Whereas I say that Disincarnate myself will take care of this 36 and the KV-3s. So don't worry about it. Take the hits, that we'll keep going. Because obviously if he sits and turns around, it's just going to delay actions and we're going to end up having them get the advantage. So we have to go ahead and push as hard as can. Yes, we're going to take hits, but we'll survive. Sometimes you just have to run with it and go with it that way. So, of course, a lucky bounce off the side. End up taking care of him. Might take a little bit. I end up keep moving. I don't want to stop and deal with it because I need to get to those KV-3s. We can't sit around and wait. Of course, I'm not going to be paying attention to my front, so I end up running into something. And I miss a shot that would have ended up killing him, so I wouldn't have had to deal with that damage to my engine. But lucky hit there, takes care of him. Figure go ahead and repair the engine. I've already committed all our forces to go in cap, so we're good there. I'm still worried about the KV-3 pushing and taking out our artillery. Luckily, we've narrowed it down to just one. So, our artillery's already on the alert to take care of them if they see them. We're capping the base, so it's not too much of a problem. At this point, it's now just to save our team from having to take any more losses. They spot him. I don't remember if they hit him or not. I know I end up taking care of it. Come on, what is it that happens? Oh, yep, they shoot some blind fire at him. They hit him once, and then of course that allows me to be able to take him out because I actually have a decent shot on him. He ends up taking out one guy, nothing we could do about that. Finish him off. Base is captured. We end up doing pretty well. So, we end up playing another battle I'm not going to show you because it was pretty abysmal, but it was exactly what I said. A bunch of KV-3s, I think it might have been the same team, but in the town, or in Himmelsdorf. And like I said, KV-3s in a city, it's not even a fair fight. Those things will win, hands down, every time. Whereas our balanced force certainly is more spread out. We're able to take out, deal with everything in the open. I feel we've done a lot better. We've made great strides, and we're starting to listen to instructions. We're starting to get our battle plans down. I'm doing better commanding forces while working at the same time. It's a learning process, and I feel we're certainly making great strides, and one day we'll move into the 8 tier when I feel that we're ready, but tier 6, it's certainly our thing right now, and we have that on lockdown. We end up going about, I'd say 75% win-loss ratio there, winning 75% of the time. Pretty good games. So, I think that's going to wrap it up. We'll see how long this recording is. Maybe I'll sneak in a little sneak preview of something. Don't hold me to it. Obviously, I'm recording this before I record that. So, of course, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Ratings and subscriptions are much appreciated. Comments, questions, and concerns I always get to, or my buddy Kazuki. He's kind of my PR rep. He always tries to answer for me, so I certainly appreciate that. But anyway, another company battle video wrapped up in the bag. We're doing those every Tuesday, so look for us. We'll be opening up our application soon. Thanks again, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.
To roll out.
What's this? What am I driving? Just don't look at the bottom left-hand corner. Let the reveal happen. Why would I be driving a tier 1 tank? Why would he do that? It's just a tier 1 tank. But why would he do that unless he wants to do a guide for every tank and a little bit of history mixed into that? Yep, that's right. How should I put it? My last video was a little short. So I decided I'd tack on a little preview here while I record some footage. What is it I'm recording? God, this thing's so slow. I'm recording video guide that I'd like to call, as I open up my notebook here I've been working on, World of Tanks Tank Guide. What is it going to be? Well, figure you're going to have, you know, if anyone's familiar and plays Call of Duty, you might be familiar with a YouTuber named Xbox Ahoy. He does a weapon guide for... Oh man, I don't even know if we'll be able to hit this guy. He does a weapon guide for all the weapons in Call of Duty. So I wanted to do something similar for World of Tanks and the tanks there. So here's what I figured. I was going to do a little bit of introduction, followed by some information on the tank. Basically, like, this is your tier 1 medium or tier 1 light tank for the Soviet Union, the MS-1, otherwise known as the T-18. And of course go into the whole tank name, the tank type, and then I'd go into a little bit of history. Let me flip to that page here. I have it all laid out. It'd be like, this is the tank. It was the first small vehicle for support, was the Russian name for the, oh geez, pronouncing this thing's gonna be possible. It is based on the French Renault FT-17, and it was produced from 1928 to 1931. And then I go into a little bit of just sort of the history of it, some of the background, the action scene, the uses of the tank. For this tank, it'd be such as the fact that it was a tank that defended the... It was slightly better than the Renault, but had better speed and armor, suffered from the ability to deal with trenches. It ended up seeing a little bit of action in the war, defended the Far East Rail Station in Manchuria, etc., etc. Then I'd go into different things, such as the... I keep flipping back and forth on my notepad here, so you're going to have to forgive the gameplay. Go into, like, the upgrades for this tank, the non-combat stuff, such as the engine, and the combat stuff, such as the turret and gun and everything else. Cover, like, the sight lines, the rate of fire, the damage per minute, And then go into what types of modules I'd recommend, well, for this light tank probably wouldn't matter what I recommended. Because, I mean, obviously it's a low tier, but in your higher tier tanks I'd like to get into the whole recommendations of what you should use, what you want to do, so on and so forth. And then go into a little bit of a performance of the tank, the role of the tank, how you should, or how I feel that it should be used in the battle, and maybe touch upon a little pros and cons of each tank, such as this tank has a great tier, almost 3 gun that you can get at tier 1, great armor, so on and so forth. Go into that sort of thing. Oh nuts, this guy definitely sees me. But yeah, sort of cover that. If you're familiar at all, like I said, with the weapons guide for... what is it called? The weapons guide for Call of Duty, then this would be pretty similar. And of course, I'd have a nice little exit, do a few graphics here and there. That's where I keep mentioning that I do not have any graphic support, and honestly, it's going to take me a while to do that. So, like I said, I wanted to possibly get something out soon. I just don't see it being possible. I will do what I can to push it out as early as I can, but I by no means am good at graphics, so pushing something out might be a little tough. We'll have to see what I can do. But yeah, so it's more or less going to be highlights. Obviously, I'm not going to show it as I'm presenting it now. It'd be kind of boring and pointless. I mean, you don't obviously want to see me sit here and dunce around in Melanova and getting killed and everything else. But yeah, so gonna record a bunch of videos from a stock tank to the most upgraded possible tank, kind of going over different things, and should go pretty well. Other than that, that's my little sneak preview. Hopefully I can push it out soon. Hopefully you guys are excited as much as I am to do it. And yeah, it's all gonna come down to graphics. I know someone else, I was actually talking to him the other day as I pull up my Steam account here. See if I can't pop up his name real quick. TGN Neil Czar. He wants to produce something very similar, except his is going to be more of a Wikipedia version, whereas mine's going to be more of a like strategy guide, weapons guide version. So definitely check out his stuff if you want to. I'll try and find a link to his stuff. But otherwise, yep. So that's my sneak preview. And hopefully I push that out soon. Otherwise, tune in for more Let's Plays, and I'll see you guys, maybe I'll see you guys in the new year. I'll try and push one out New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve episode. How awesome would that be? Anyway, take it easy, guys.